Well, hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of Plant Powered. I'm your host, Christy K, and I'd like to address the elephant in the room today. By the way, I love elephants, one of my top favorite mammals of all time. So, on this newsletter or video vlog, whatever it's called, I've shared before that I am plant based because I am against the animal agriculture industry. It is absolutely horrific and disgusting how we treat animals, from the torture they receive by disturbed workers that are employed there, that are forced to really work in unthinkable conditions themselves, to the environment that the animals live in, not to mention the foods and the drugs that we give them to grow fast, just to then be slaughtered and eaten. I believe the industry really highlights the awful extent of how human beings can be. And so people might be surprised to learn that my husband and I own a live bait and tackle shop. My husband is an avid fisherman, fishes quite often. And in our tackle shop that we recently opened about a year and a half ago, we sell minnows and we sell other live bait, and we carry also dead bait, so fish, for fishermen to buy and go out and fish and catch fish to either kill themselves and eat, or they catch and release, right? So today's episode, I want to sort of just explain how I reconcile all of that with my morals and my values. But first, of course, like and subscribe and leave me comments about this episode. Leave me comments about all of the content. Let me know what I can do to make this time as valuable to you as possible. Okay, so let's get to it, right? So, how do I find this common ground between my vegan and plant based life versus owning a tackle shop? Um, Being vegan isn't always just about what's on our plate or whether we're eating plant-based whole foods, or even the alternative meats that are grown in other ways. Um, my stance is really deep rooted into the cruelty of animal agriculture. Again, it's the conditions that we force these animals to live in, it's the food, the hormones, the drugs that we give them, and just the overall cruelty and torture that the humans treat them while they are in captivity. It really highlights one of the darkest aspects of human impact on the world. And I don't think anybody who has seen these documentaries and have any idea on how animals are actually raised to slaughter would disagree with me on this. Okay. So the elephant in the room, a tackle shop, right? So, given my strong beliefs, you might be wondering how I reconcile owning a tackle shop with my husband. As we know, fishing involves the pursuit of animals. Sometimes it's catch and release, but often the fish are kept, filleted, and eaten. Now, at first glance, this is contradictory, but let me explain. Fishing, especially when done sustainable catch and release practices, offers a really different perspective on outdoor activity and conservation. Our tackle shop isn't just about selling tackle and bait. We intentionally promote spending time in nature, enjoying outdoor recreation, getting children activity outside, interested and involved in things outside of technology. And most importantly, we also advocate for ethical fishing methods that help sustain aquatic populations and minimize harm. In the same aspect, this applies to hunters also. While I don't eat any type of meat, whether it's fish, deer, mountain lion, cow, pig, all of the options, I do hold appreciation for those who go out and pursue animals, who respect them, and when they kill them, they use them in their entirety. They use their meat to feed their families, they use their fur to keep themselves warm, waste little, right? When humans participate in the circle of life with animals, I can appreciate that. I still don't eat meat. There are plenty of alternatives and healthier choices out there that sustain my life and maximize my physical goals. My problem lies with Big Ag. When we raise animals in cages for the sole purpose to kill in conditions that create disease and pain, that's a line that I am not willing to get behind. The same principles applies to fishing. The agriculture of fish causes incredible destruction in many ways. So a few examples of this is overfishing. We are removing fish faster than they can reproduce, and we are pushing species toward extinction. There are millions of dolphins, sea turtles, and sharks that are killed as unintended victims of commercial fishing. There's also really destructive practices when you think about mass consumption of fishing, bottom trawling, long lining, all of these things destroy habitats. And then even like fishermen, when they lose their netting, it gets stuck down on the sea bottom, on lake bottoms, and it just kills massive amounts of fish and aquatic life. Okay. This is why I am against large-scale fishing industries, because they exploit marine life with no regard for sustainability. And that's also why I do support small-scale fishing practices that emphasize conservation and ethical treatment of wildlife. So I've mentioned before, my husband and I own a tackle shop. It is in Nashville, Tennessee, right by a lake, called Finn's Tackle Shop. And we advocate for smart, ethical practices. Fishing is not always black and white, right? Commercial fishing has devastating impacts, which I just outlined. There is a space for sustainable fishing practices that coexist with a respect for nature. So at Finn's, we promote, again, spending time outdoors, encouraging people, encouraging families to get outside, connect with nature, appreciate and respect wildlife. We promote community engagement, hosting events that bring people together in healthy and active ways. We promote sustainable catch and release fishing practices. We educate anglers on best practices to minimize harm to fish and preserve populations. Some of these practices, it includes how to land the fish quickly. So basically saying, remove the fish from the water. Removing fish from water can cause stress. It can suffocate them and it can cause internal injuries. So you handle the fish as little as possible. Use wet hands when you get them, or even gloves, to reduce the loss of the protective mucus that's on the fish's scales. Support the fish. You want to cradle the fish gently with one hand beneath the belly near the water's surface, or support it in a landing net. Always avoid squeezing the fish tightly, which can damage its internal organs and its muscles. If you are out fishing with your kids or with children, please educate them in these practices. You want to avoid touching the fish's eyes and the gills. These are kind of obvious, like, pro tips on how to handle fish, but I think worth talking about, okay? You never want to lift the fish up by its jaw, cover its gills, or poke or pick at its eyes. Also, release the fish quickly. Gently release the fish back into the water. Hold it into the current. Avoid moving the fish around in the water. This can all damage its gills. They're very sensitive. Also, you could use barbless or even circle hooks. Now, if you use a regular hook and if it's swallowed, try to de-hook the fish in the water as much as possible. If that doesn't work, cut the line as close to the hook as you can. Okay? You can also resuscitate sluggish fish. Face the fish into the current until it regains its strength and it can move and swim away on its own. So those are just some of the ways that Finn's promotes sustainable catch and release practices, all right? The reality is that we live in a world where compromise is always necessary. My veganism is an essential part of who I am, but it doesn't mean that I isolate myself from those with different perspectives, including those perspectives of my husband. Supporting the tackle shop means supporting outdoor experiences, community events, and education on sustainable fishing practices. It's really about fostering dialogue rather than division. Being vegan, being plant based, it doesn't mean shutting out people with different perspectives. It means leading with education, compassion, and commitment to minimizing harm. While I'll always advocate for animal welfare, I also recognize that fishing, when done responsibly, can be a way to foster a deeper respect for nature. So if this topic resonates with you or even challenges your perspective, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation going. That's it for today, folks. That's how I reconcile being vegan for animal ethics and welfare and owning and supporting a tackle shop with my husband and my family. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful and insightful, and that you can walk away feeling empowered to make choices that will improve your life, your family's life, and the world around you. I recommend you always do your own research, as always, and find motivation in making positive changes. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like and leave me comments. If you liked the content, great. If you don't, or if you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. Tell me about it. I have spent decades in the education and training industry, and I am always driven to provide content that makes a difference. So subscribe, like the videos, shorts, posts, and leave me some feedback. It is my mission to educate and empower those seeking to recomposition their bodies while living a plant-based lifestyle. If you're interested in personalized macro or training program, you can always connect with me. I love meeting like-minded people, and it'd be great to chat with you. I'm Christy K, owner of Plant Powered Strength and Nutrition, and this has been another installment of Plant Powered. Have a great week, my friends.